Travelers will have several options to travel directly to international destinations. The Secretary of Tourism explained the routes and agreements achieved during this week.
Se han concretado en vuelos directos internacionales.
Direct international flights have been arranged. It is a tourism that we have been targeting from the departmental administration. Yesterday, July 5th, we received our first direct flight from Panama operated by Copa. It will be a flight with a frequency of once a week initially, which will depend on the flow and demand of the flight.
The head of the tourism office also indicated that a direct flight between San Andres and Miami is planned for this December.
Igualmente vamos a tener la ruta entre Miami.
We will also have the route between Miami and San Andres twice a week starting in December, operated by American Airlines, so we will be able to be connected directly with the northern country in a flight of approximately 2.5 hours.
The Secretary indicated that the visit to Puerto Limon allowed the islands to know strategies for the tourist reactivation of the archipelago, taking into account that they have a culture similar to the Raizal people. He also announced that direct flights are being arranged for the archipelago to Costa Rica so that the islanders can connect with the Caribbean country.
And in order to improve the supply of public transport on the island, taxi drivers in the department are trained in legal regulation and customer service.
210 taxi drivers will be trained during this week by the Secretariat of Mobility on regulatory issues with the aim of drivers can perform their work in compliance with the relevant legal framework.
We decided to train individual public service drivers, for example, taxi drivers in transport regulations, which is the economic activity they engage in and work. So the objective is that from this training, they start formalizing their work, that they comply with all the requirements of the law, that they can strengthen their cooperatives, that they can strengthen their transport companies.
During this workshop, the taxi drivers of the island have learned about traffic signaling and how to improve customer service. Alberto Garden, representative of the Taxi Drivers Union, said the following.
I think it was taking too long for capacitation like this because we learn a lot of good things. We learn how to drive our car, we learn to respect design them, we learn how to treat the tourists and all kind of things like this. I think this thing is very good, very significant for the taxi drivers and I think we appreciate it that this guy is a good teacher. And I think we should make this more often than this, maybe 2 times for a year or something like that. This is very good and we learn things that we didn't know, but it's good.
This training to taxi drivers will end this coming July 10. The Secretary of Mobility announced that it will also train drivers of buses and special services. In addition, they will work on the regulation of public transport prices on the island, which has not yet been updated since 2016.
And Carolina's Board of Directors approved resources to improve the care at Johnny Key Natural Park.
During one of its regular meetings and in order to review some specific financial aspects to strengthen prevention and maintenance activities in Johnny Key Regional Natural Park, the Board of Directors of Carolina approved resources to continue with the operation of some processes. The director of the entity spoke about these resources.
We had some resources that were in the framework of an agreement signed with Findeter that was not used for the reconstruction of a wind tower in the sector of Johnny Key in the protected area. Those resources have to be reused. There are 494 million pesos, and it was requested that we add 309 million pesos that we will use to work and reinforce some maintenance activities in the Johnny Key Regional Park.
Also, during this meeting, the topic and the reform of some of the corporation bylaw was discussed, as well as the presentation of the management report for approval and the approval of other resources that will help with the development of the corporation activities. Finally, the General Director of the entity indicated that the objective of the meeting was achieved with the participation of several members in person and others virtually.
And in other news, the ICU occupancy by COVID-19 presented a decrease of 43%. On the other hand, the cases of coronavirus on the island continue to increase. Here in Teleislas News, we will show you how is the situation of COVID in the islands.
Last Saturday, July 3rd, the National Institute of Health registered 20 new cases of COVID in the island. On this day, there was no death due to the virus on the insular territory. On Sunday, July 4th, health authorities announced that there were 15 new cases of coronavirus in the archipelago, which represent 2 days of increase of COVID cases in the island. For this date, there were no deaths due to the virus. For the Monday holiday, July 5th, authorities report 7 new cases of virus in the island. Also, a 60-year-old male died of the disease. According to data from the departmental government in the latest report to July 5th, there are currently 85 active cases of COVID in the archipelago, 79 in San Andres, and 6 active cases in Providence. The occupancy rate in the ICU is 43%. The departmental ESE indicated that it will be conducting this weekend process on Tuesday and Wednesdays in the Caribbean sector, Thursday in Campo Hermoso, Friday in the sector of Tablitas, and Saturday in San Francisco. On the other hand, the Ministry of Health in its report of the National Vaccination Plan indicated that 48,679 doses have been applied in the archipelago.
A high degree of accidentality occurred during the weekend where several off-road vehicles were involved. Also, the National Police reported on a deceased and an injured in events occurred on Saturday, and the prosecutor reported some captures. Here we make a balance of what was news on the weekend.
3 accidents took place this weekend, 2 of them involving mule-type cars. One of them occurred in the Little Hill sector where a mule-type car collided with a motorcycle. Another accident occurred in the North End sector where a mule crashed against a post, causing it to fall. There was also a road accident in the Shingle Hill sector where 3 people were injured. Fortunately, there was no fatalities in these accidents. On the other hand, regarding the events on Saturday in the schoolhouse sector, the National Police reported that Joiner de Jesus Perez Salazar, 33 years old, was identified as one of the people injured the day before in acts of violence in the schoolhouse sector. Perez Salazar was transported in an institutional vehicle to the Clarence Lynn Newball Memorial Hospital. Upon entering the hospital and being treated by the doctors due to the severity of his injuries, he lost his life. In the same incident, Javier Davidson Vargas, of 20 years old, resident of the schoolhouse sectors, were injured and present the same firearm impact with a reserved diagnosis. The authorities are conducting several investigations to collect physical evidence and material evidence that will lead to the clarification of this act. It is worth mentioning that this will be the 3rd consecutive week in which people have died as a result of violent acts in the island territory. The Attorney General Office of the nation reported the capture of a captain of the National Police who will be involved in the cases of the small plane detected with about half a ton of cocaine in Old Providence. The official would have tried to intercede for the cargo to enter the island among supposed humanitarian aid. According to the evidence, Captain Aguilar Garcia, assigned to the police health department, had communicated with his colleagues in charge of the security of the El Embrujo airport of Old Providence and Santa Catalina so that they will allow the passage of several boxes with supposed humanitarian aid and face masks, which arrived in a light aircraft on May 23. Finally, the officials disregarded the captain's call, inspected the cargo, and discovered that it was a front to hide about half a ton of cocaine. In the searches of the aircraft, they also found 102,752,000 pesos in cash. The defendant was captured in a joint action led by the prosecutors and the National Police.
And during the last weekend, the vaccination against measles and rubeolla was carried out. However, only 309 children were vaccinated.
Hello, Lisa and all the televiewers. Well, the coordinator of immunization from the Secretariat of Health informed that only 309 children were vaccinated against the rubeolla and the measles the last weekend. And she extended the invitation to all the parents to vaccinate their children, taking into account that they will soon return to classrooms.
Between the 2 days, we managed to apply only 309 doses of measles and rubeolla vaccines. We still need to continue with this effort because the children will return to their classrooms and must be protected. So we continue to invite them to come to the different sites available that are providing the service.
The official also explained that the vaccination points from last weekend will not be available.
There will no longer be available sites as we had on the weekend. However, we will continue to make an effort to coordinate with the different institutions that vaccinate so that they can identify the children to be vaccinated.
For last, the official announced the new points then that will be available for the vaccination.
The institutions that vaccinate as usual are the Departmental Hospital, the Insular Medical Center, the Police Health Department, and the Navy Health Department.
Okay, the Secretary of Health is organizing a group to vaccinate the children host to host in some sectors of the island, and also they are organizing the educational institutions for the same team. That's all the information for now. For Teleislas, this is Gisela Livingston.
Thank you, Gisela. Now we continue with all the sport news of our department.
Hello, here are the best sports of the island. Islander basketball players live a new experience with Argentine basketball coach. In the training process of a basketball player, new experiences are often added to their career, as each of the coaches share his or her philosophy on different knowledge with the athletes. Madeo Masquita is one of these players who had lived different experiences with national and international coaches since he has been in national and foreign camps. This is what Masquita shared with us.
Well, during all my years to play basketball, all the experience that I have playing is a new experience. It's a great thing that they bring the teacher to train us and to show us different things that we didn't have before.
Another one who told us how he feels about having a new foreign coach is Emil Williams.
And I feel very good with the coach because in the teach new things, I will come in good and we will learn. If we keep united and pay attention to a coach teaching we can get far.
The individual formation of an athlete is very important, but more important is being trained collectively as team, as expresses by the athletes. Children and mothers shows appreciation to coaches who put their soul to sport and help train their children. The coaches play an important role in the formation of a child. They dedicate their time to educate and to teach through sports. The mothers as well as the children know it, and that is why they express their gratitude to teachers and especially to Jenny Matos.
I want to embrace this moment to highlight the great work that Jenny does through sports, teaching by means of extracurricular activities to educate our children. Today I want to thank her for the great work she's doing with our children. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jenny.
Another who is grateful from the bottom of her heart is Catherine Christopher.
I give thanks to the teacher Jenny because she have time to dedicate to the children them, and she talk to them plenty. They have to do sport, they have to do then homework, career and things for them not have to on the road. They do things where they not have to do and from house to house.
Daily applause is given to the teacher Jenny Matos and to the teachers who put their soul into the sports and the training of the children.